Hi, welcome back to Novello Group TV. I'm Aaron Novello. In today's post, we're going to be talking about a topic that I see come up this time of the year, which is whether or not to continue to rent a piece of property or to actually sell it. So whether you're an out-of-state, homeowner where you've been renting a property, whether that be seasonally or on a yearly basis, or if you're local here in the area and maybe you have a property that's been in your portfolio as a rental property, income producing, and you're just making that decision of whether or not to sell or to explore, renting it again. And, I oftentimes find that decision can be really helped out by really asking yourself a couple questions, right? So the first question to take a look at is the macroeconomic factors, just what's going on in the market as a whole. Oftentimes people come to the conclusion of even exploring selling a property because they've been renting it for a while and maybe the cash flow really isn't justifying having to babysit tenants, right? And deal with, what comes up with being a landlord, particularly from long distance. So if we look at the macroeconomic factors, we're really seeing that we're really kind of peaking in the sense that, residential resale is at its second highest level that it's been at. The only other time it's ever been higher is 2007. The other thing that's very interesting to me is I read recently that, consumer debt, the amount of, a balance that people are holding on their credit cards in the United States is actually the second highest that it's ever been since they've been paying attention to it. The only other time it was higher was in 2007, and we all know what happened after that. So, if you're really looking at this and saying, well, I'll give it another year and kind of test it out, it's really a situation that if you're not interested in being a landlord for an extended period of time, holding on to it for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, now might make really good sense to cash out because we're really kind of, peaking again in terms of sales, and prices have come up dramatically from where they were, in 7, 8, 9, Now, the other thing to really ask yourself, because oftentimes this can be a dilemma, right? Which is the path of least resistance. If you got a tenant that's there, maybe I'll just rent it out to them again, no big deal. Well, the question to ask yourself is, if somebody was to present me with this investment, right? In other words, they said, here's how much it cash flows per month. Here's what what the experience you could expect to have while you own it. And this is the price, right? The question is would you buy it today at that price with that cash flow? Now, if the answer is no, then logically it makes sense to sell, right? Because if I'm not a buyer at this price, then, I should be a seller at this price. Now, the other kind of way to go about this and really deciding if this makes sense is really to extract yourself from the situation and imagine as though somebody came to you and asked you what they should do for your guidance, right? They said, hey, I own this property. Here's the market dynamics. Here's been my experience. Here's how much I'm making each month. And here's my experience with my tenants. What do you think I should do? Do you think I should hold on and wait, or do you think I should actually cash out and sell? And I find that oftentimes it can be easier to make that decision if you kind of extract yourself from it and put yourself in a situation as though you were giving guidance to somebody else. Because I'm aware it's easier to give that guidance to somebody else than it can be to take it yourself, right? So hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you're out there, if you're one of these secondary homeowners, or maybe even here locally who owns a property and really trying to make that decision whether or not to rent or sell, I'd be more than happy to provide you with an updated market analysis on both what you could get for rent in the current market and also what you could sell for. So that way you can, make the decision that you feel is best for you and your family. And hopefully this has been helpful to you, and we look forward to the opportunity to hear from you real soon.